I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's a winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back out again with a brand new video. And I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. This game coming up this Sunday between the Carolina Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks is gonna be a good one. Wait, hold up. It's not 2017. Oh, it's gonna be a blowout. Look, we all know what's going on with the Panthers right now. This season is done. It's been done. We are just in the long haul looking at what exactly we're going to be doing in the draft. If you haven't been, you need to be watching these college games as they come up each and every weekend, because the future of the Panthers is playing on one of these teams that's in the college football playoffs right now. So keep an eye out for those dudes. But on a real serious note, I was being serious. This is probably going to be another blowout. We know what these Seahawks represent. This is a team led by Russell Wilson, who, look, if we ask anyone who's even a casual fan of the NFL, everyone will tell you the MVP, almost unanimously, almost already a foregone conclusion, is Lamar Jackson. Unless this man retires before his next game, he has the whole MVP award locked up. But that does not mean that the other guys who are in the hunt are just going to stop trying to be impressive. They just say, oh, well, hey, congrats to Lamar. He's won it. We're already 3 weeks out. So, hey, I saw him, bro. Congrats to you. There's going to be these guys like Russell Wilson, who I think is probably the number 2 guy in that MVP race. They're going to keep trying. And what better team to try against than the Carolina Panthers? This is a player, Russell Wilson, and a team in the Seahawks that are looking to prove something, especially coming off that loss just this past Monday, I think it was, against the Rams. The Rams, who weren't really all that good of a team. Well, they had a kind of rough start to this season, but they got beat 12-28 and did not look the least bit interested in maybe even trying to go for a win. Russ didn't look good. The run game didn't look good. They're looking to turn that around and make a stronger case to themselves to make a bigger push in this NFC playoff picture. They can't get ahead of the Niners. As far as I think right now, mathematically, it probably won't happen. But they can still try to make a case to look impressive and have some really good momentum going into the playoffs. These Seahawks are coming in to Carolina and they're going to be ready to play. And honestly, just about everything the Seahawks do well works very well against our Panthers defense. That's where I'll start with the Seahawks offense. First off, they are one of the best running teams in the league. I believe they're ranked 3rd as a team in the league. Chris Carson already has 1,000 yards on the season. I think he's one of 5 or 6 running backs who have 1,000 yards rushing. This has been a pretty good year for running backs. But Chris Carson is the real deal. And Rashad Penny just got hurt. He's out for the rest of the season in that last game against the Rams. So we'll be seeing a healthy dose of Chris Carson. They will run the ball and run the ball consistently. And it's kind of impressive when you think about how Russell Wilson's been playing this year. He has pretty impressive numbers. I think he has 26 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. That's off top, I think. That's pretty good for just how strong and how consistent of a running game this Seahawks team has, and for how bad their offensive line has been historically. But when you think about this game right here, Chris Carson is going to be a problem for this defense that cannot stop the run. Now, over the past few weeks, we've gone against some teams that have some pretty alright, decent to, just league average kind of run games going on. We haven't been going against these teams with elite run games when you consider Russell Wilson isn't really a running quarterback. He can move around, but he's more like a mobile guy who looks to pass without the pocket. He's not looking to run too often. But if you think about Chris Carson is the real deal, and he is capable of carving up this Panthers defense. But it hurts so much to know that, and then also know that the Seahawks have just run the ball 13 times and still blow us out because the pass defense ain't really good either. James Bradbury is the only player in our secondary who you can even think about saying with confidence, I believe he'll win his matchup at least 50% of the time. And James Bradbury's been good. James Bradbury has had some times where he's been caught out of position, but for the most part, he's had a really, really good year this season. He's had several good years in a row. But when you think about football and offense and pass offense specifically, you have to realize teams don't just have one wide receiver. There's other guys on the field that Russell Wilson can throw the ball to, and if Tyler Lockett gets shadowed by James Bradbury all night, then what about DK Metcalf? What about Josh Gordon, who hasn't had a great season so far on either of the teams he's been on? But if there's a game, an opponent for Josh Gordon to look good against, it might be this one right here. And as a quick aside right here, when you think about how heavy of a run-based offense this Seahawks team is, and you see guys like Tyler Lockett with almost 70 receptions for 874 yards, and DK Metcalf, their second option, having 50 receptions for 783 yards, that tells me two things. One, even with them running so often, the pass game is still really deadly. And two, the target share is basically even, with it being 87 and 83 respectively between Lockett and DK Metcalf. So you don't know where the ball's going. And another thing about this offense is Russell Wilson can extend the play. This man can get out of the pocket, he can run around, and it's hard for even the best DBs in the league to maintain coverage for 5, 6, 7 seconds at a time, play after play after play. Eventually, and probably quickly against this defense, Russell Wilson will get you. These receivers are good enough to make things happen. And like I mentioned, a guy like Josh Gordon, who has not had a good season at all by any metrics, this could be the game where you might see him targeted a little more often. But on the flip side of things, this offense for the Panthers could see a little bit of life, specifically as it pertains to Kyle Allen. The Seahawks aren't the best run-stopping defense in the league, but they aren't near the worst. They're probably like around, I think, 10 to 12 or 13 in the league right now, so they're not really bad. You're not going to really get too much running against them, and especially if they get a lead on you, you can't run the ball all that often. But the good thing about that is the Seahawks have one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They're actually the 4th worst in pass yards allowed per game. This Seahawks secondary is not great. And you think about how good of a season that DJ Moore is having. Curtis Samuel could have some really good work here going on. You think about, I don't know if Greg Olsen's going to be back. Greg was at practice for the last 2 days, but he's still in concussion protocol, so he's been limited. I don't know just how much work he's been doing, but I don't know right now if we will see Greg Olsen come back before this game. But even still, Ian Thomas has shown that he can be a really good receiving threat. And I didn't really notice any big weaknesses in his pass protection as well. So his blocking seems to be pretty alright. So he can be an every down, a staple in this offense at tight end. It all comes down to Kyle Allen, decision making, and I guess taking advantage of what the defense is going to be giving you, because they will be giving you a lot. And the better part about this is this Seahawks defense does not generate sacks. They have 23 sacks on the year after 13 games, and the Panthers have 47. We have doubled them up. This is a team that does not get to the quarterback. This Seahawks team has a bad pass defense in the secondary, and they cannot get to your quarterback in the front 7. So this could be a pretty good showing for Kyle Allen if he takes the opportunities that show themselves. And on top of that, I expect to see a little bit more out of Scott Turner and the coaching staff in general here. You saw things that didn't work in the first game you had at OC, so you can make more notes here, take things you saw into consideration, and make better moves, make bigger moves for this game against the Seahawks. Because for some of y'all out there, it's probably the writing's on the wall. You're not really fighting for your job in Carolina, but you could be fighting for another role somewhere else. And if other teams see Scott Turner drawing up plays that seem to work pretty well against a 10-3 team like the Seahawks, using Kyle Allen, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Ian, and C-Mac, you might be able to look at, getting your foot in the door somewhere else. So this could be some really good motivation for our offense to show maybe a little bit more trickery, maybe a little more creativity, maybe show things and have guys in position to show that they can do different things and do them well that are outside of what they usually do, what they were doing under Ron and under Norv Turner. So we could see a few things in the pass game. I want to see C-Mac get a little bit more love. Over the past few weeks, we've kind of abandoned the run game fairly quickly. I kind of want to see Christian do a little bit more. Now, he's already cracked 1,000 yards on the season, obviously, and there's just no way he cracks 1,000 yards through the air. I think he has to average 92 yards receiving every game for the rest of the season to get to 1,000 yards. That's not going to happen. Not with what we got going on. Look, it is what it is, but this point is completely moot and irrelevant if one thing does not work to the best of its ability, and that is the offensive line unit. matter if you're going against a team that only generated 23 sacks on the season if your O-line is so bad you can't even block those dudes. And we've seen quite a few times, we don't exactly have the best offensive line in the league. We got a pretty porous, injury-riddled O-line that cannot protect for Kyle Allen. So we know what we have in our hands right here. It's going to be a tough one. This could be a game where Russ goes off and tries to prove something. This could be a game where Kyle Allen can do something against what should be a kind of weak pass defense in the Seahawks. But what it comes down to is I just don't believe in what we can do on defense, and the offense will take this opportunity. They might look good in spurts, but I don't believe in it. I see this game ending at 21 to probably like 38. I can really see Russ making some moves on this team and trying to prove a point to say, look, Lamar might win MVP, but I was not so far behind him. Look at what I can do right here. I ain't that far behind him now, so let's not get too crazy and forget me. And let's not forget, Russ did just get a new contract this past offseason, and it was a very big contract, but there were also incentives in that contract, so he might be trying to hit some of those numbers there. And how many better teams are there in the NFL right now to pad your stats against than the Carolina Panthers? It is what it is. Hate to say it, but this is probably going to be an ugly game. It might actually look good. It might look good from both sides until the end where things get ugly. But, you know, that's the 2019 season for the Panthers for us. That's all I got for you for right now. What are your thoughts, stat predictions, score predictions? Do you think Russ will go off? Do you think Chris Carson will go off? What do you expect to see from the new coaching staff members, the guys who are just now calling plays like Scott Turner? Do you think we'll see more conservative play or more creative, more, I guess, trickery going on against this Seahawks team? What do you expect? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.